Hello, wonderful humans, and welcome back. I am super excited to be returning to the Wheel of Time videos that I was creating before I got caught up with life. So today, I am going to be talking for the first time about The Shadow Rising, book 4 in the Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I am loving what I'm reading so far. Just so you are aware, I've only read 7 chapters. So I am talking about chapters 1 through to 7 today. And that's how I'm going to be doing this book this time around. So be extra careful with spoilers down in the comments because I may not have finished reading the book. I think this could be really quite an interesting way for me to do it because normally I finish reading it before I start talking about it with you. This time around, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts with no idea of where the book is going after the next couple of chapters. So if you are new here, I read a chapter of the book and then I stop and write a page of notes in my trusty reading journal. This one's back again. I write 1 page of notes in the journal, no more, no less. I write it as soon as possible after reading the chapter so I get my initial reactions. I don't comment on all of the action. I miss things. I misinterpret things. This is my experience of reading the Wheel of Time. So welcome, and you're very, very welcome to join me along the way. So today, as I said, I'm going to be talking about chapters 1 through to 7. And I'm just going to get stuck straight into it without any more explanation. Chapter 1, Seeds of Shadow. No prologue. Way to break with tradition. And then I wrote here, read prophecy. So I'm just going to read the prophecy. The shadow shall rise across the world and darken every land, even to the smallest corner. And there shall be neither light nor safety. And he who shall be born of the dawn, born of the maiden, according to prophecy, he shall stretch forth his hands to catch the shadow, and the world shall scream in the pain of salvation. All glory be to the Creator, and to the light, and to he who shall be born again. May the light save us from him. It's good. It's a good prophecy. I like it. I like how vague it is. I like that it doesn't really tell us anything, but I also like just the rhythm of it, and you can tell that it's about the dragon just by basically what we know. It's really cool. Anyway, maybe I'm just tired, but that chapter has left me a little bit overwhelmed. So much going on. It's like 4 chapters in one, and this was a lengthy chapter. So as always, I've only written the 1 page of notes. So I've broken it up and spoke about the 4 parts to it. So it's brief. But Min is first. So many visions. I feel my predictions that Tarvalon would fall may not be far off. She's being used as a pawn by Swan, but not overly surprised by that. But I do wonder what the point is if she's not going to listen when Min says her predictions are always true. I thought that was really, really quite interesting, that she doesn't listen necessarily, or maybe she does, but she doesn't want to react. And it looks like she may have seen Swan's death, or at least her stripping of power, which could actually be not far off, maybe. But why on the floor naked if not dead? That's interesting. A lot more I could say here, but I'll stick to this. I'm looking forward to seeing more of Gawain and Galad, plus seeing Min as Elmendreda. Sounds fun. And maybe will help her embrace who she is more. It's been a while. I actually should say, breaking in for a moment. I have just picked this up again and have read chapter 7 yesterday. And I started reading this on the 15th of October. So it's been a while. So I'm actually really happy to be rereading this now before I keep going with the book because it's reminding me of what's happened. Next part of chapter 1, later. You're on the same side. Stop conspiring against Swan. But she has that same arrogance as all Aes Sedai, like Swan ignoring the Sonchen threat. She's got that same arrogance that her interpretation of what she foresaw about Andor is 100% correct, and she has all the information she needs, only lacking proof to dethrone her. So, like, it rings true to what we know about the Aes Sedai. Looks like she's not of the Black Aja, which isn't surprising, because I think that would have been too much of a like obvious thing to happen. But this is going to play into whoever or whatever Min saw happening. This, I think, Elada is going to be more instrumental in it than the Black Aja as such. The Aes Sedai are unstable with split focus and split loyalty. And there's this lack of trust amongst them, which, fair enough, I get that. So they won't see the threat until it's too late. I'm looking forward to seeing that unfold. I'm hoping that that's a big part of what we see in the Shadow Rising. Then Bornhold Jr. He's going after revenge on Perrin, who had nothing to do with Bornhold Sr.'s death. He says going after revenge in the Two Rivers. And I am so scared for his family. Are the Tinkers, Perrin's Tinkers, so the Tinkers that he's dealing with, will they have warned people? Can Tam and others in the village get them to escape to the mountains? Will they listen to a warning? Will they know something's bad is coming? Will some of them escape to the mountains? I think that could be really cool. And Ordith, out loud, sounds an awful lot like Mordith. So that's that part. And then the final part, Suroth. The Seanchan are coming. She is smarter than Turok and has a whole lot more to lose than he did, but also has the same arrogance. That means she misreads and misjudges the situation. And there are already spies on the continent. That's scary. That is not good. Also, the Empress sounds terrifying. So yeah, this was a chapter in the book that had so much in it. There was no chance that I was going to be able to cover all of it. But that's what I wrote so far. Chapter 2, Whirlpools in the Pattern. I've swapped to my Kindle for a little bit so I can transport the book easier and hopefully read more regularly. This was after I read the first chapter, and then a week later I'm reading chapter 2. So 3 point of view in this chapter, all dealing with the events of the Dragon Reborn. Perrin and Fael are great. That will take a while to settle into something, given how different they are and their very different life experiences. Fael will have to come to terms with Perrin's Tavernness, and they're both keeping secrets though, which better that they're both keeping secrets than one keeping them and the other not. Perrin and the wolf thing is clear, but what is Fael's deal? What is she keeping secret? Did she lie about her family? I feel that she's lying about her family. That's what I think is happening there. Matt's gambling with some lord who he finds as painful as I do. His luck stuff is really cool. He's starting to notice it as a trickle or a wave, which I love that idea of being able to feel it in different ways, particularly with dice. This is really awesome, and I really look forward to seeing that unfold. He wants to leave, but I almost, not quite, feel like he doesn't want to leave, but thinks that's what he should want to do. I think that there's a fine line with Matt about him wanting to do things and him thinking that he should want to do things. Anyway, Rand and Berelane's interaction was interesting too. What does she actually want from Rand? Just fun times? Is that all she's after? Or is she after the dragon? Or is she after something else? Is she there for other reasons? It was nice to see Rand again, not mad. I missed him in the Dragon Reborn. I missed seeing his point of view, and I'm really happy to see a little bit of it this time around. And he's just dealing with a lot out of his control. Like, it's just he's out of his depth, and he's learning to deal with that. He still fears the Aes Sedai wanting and wanting to control him, which I doubt is going to change anytime soon, especially while people he doesn't trust are in power. And given that the Black Aja have surfaced and he knows about them now, I believe, that's also going to be causing a lot more mistrust of them as well. If they can't even keep the Black Aja out and Dark Friends out of Tarvalon, how can he trust anything that they say? But he also does plan on asking Moraine to heal him and not Nynaeve, which was interesting. Maybe he doesn't know what Nynaeve is capable of. Maybe Nynaeve's not capable of healing it, but I would have thought that he would have gone to her before Moraine. The dangers are a worry, these impromptu dangers. I doubt it's Rand, but don't know who else it could be. It appeared to happen to Mat and Perrin as they were thinking about leaving Rand. So maybe it's about keeping them all together, or maybe it was Rand. Anyway, I enjoyed seeing how similar they all are in this chapter despite major differences in their storylines and in their characters, but they all have a lot in common. Because they've all been brought up in the same area and all that kind of stuff. So it makes sense, and I like seeing that unfold in this chapter. I want to see them all together again. I want to see more of them together being friends, or at least being the Eamon's Fielders. They need to communicate, or at least get drunk together. I honestly don't care what they do. I just want them to spend some time together. Probably not fighting, but yeah, I just want to see them together. Anyway, chapter 3, Reflection. The High Lord Torian looks like he wants to cause trouble. Maybe he's looking for a reason to kick Rand and co out of Tyr, and could use Berelane's fear and dishevelled state to do something, even if just start rumours. Or maybe he sent Berelane in there in the first place. Don't know. The longer they stay in Tyr, or any one place, the more danger they're going to be in. Rand is very aware of this, and it sounds like Moraine has been trying to get him to act, to go to Tarvalon by the sound of it. He was more injured, though, than I realised, which I think will give them all a big fright. Especially, it's something that they can't protect against in a normal kind of way. Fael definitely thought Rand would be telling Perrin about his sexual experience with Berelane, not reporting danger, or she wouldn't have left him on his own. She finds Perrin's innocence amusing, and I'm assuming none of the boys are experienced in that way, which I think is really cute. But that could be changing this book, given they're all preoccupied with it at the moment. They're all very focused on women, whether it's their preoccupation or other people's preoccupation with that. Anyway, so a bubble or miasma of the Dark One has escaped, and there's no telling if or when it will happen again. That's really scary. Just to make sure they never relax, I suppose. We don't want them to have any relaxing moments. And it will keep them on their toes, I suppose. I would assume that will happen. These miasmas will bubble up at a few points just to remind them that it's happening, and that will help keep them on their toes, I suppose. Rand and Lan have been training, and Lan obviously has a soft spot for him, to the point that he disagreed with Moraine. That's always fun when he disagrees with Moraine. Ruark and Lan are great together, even briefly. They're not friends or rivals quite, but warriors feeling each other out. And I really like that kind of relationship, I suppose. That character scenario where you've got two people who just don't quite trust each other or want to feel each other out, respect each other. It's fun. And then I thought this is really a cool concept, even if it doesn't pan out. Maybe Rand isn't who the Isle are looking for. Maybe it's one of the others. like a Gwen, for example, or someone else completely. They just needed the stone to fall, and now, like everyone, are looking to the prophecies to see what's next. So I just think that given the Isle's connection with the Aes Sedai, and given what I suspect about a Gwen's future with the Aes Sedai, maybe she's the one that they're looking for. Maybe. Anyway, chapter 4, Strings. I'm really happy Matt has someone to talk to, that he can run to when things get difficult. I think they all need that. Tom really cares about Rand and Matt, less though about Perrin, which makes sense given that the Eye of the World, Tom wasn't with Perrin. He's given Matt some things to think about and is putting it all together for himself. Even if he doesn't have all the information, he's putting everything together. Especially around the pattern, making some hints about the pattern. Matt won't be leaving Tyr until the pattern needs him to. So whether that's Tom suspecting that Matt doesn't want to leave, or whether he's suspecting that Matt's not supposed to leave yet, don't know. I really like the image of Matt's memories being like expensive lace full of large holes. It's such a really beautiful image that I can really get behind. Will he be able to regain them like I initially thought? Or are they just completely gone? And maybe that has some connection to why he speaks with the old tongue. Sometimes his memory gaps are making room for other things to slip through. So if he had his full memories, that wouldn't be happening as much, but because he's lost them, his mind's working at filling in the gaps, and it's drawing on some of his past life memories. That's my thinking. There are glimpses of Tom dabbling in a bit of game playing, planning on leaving notes to cause problems and distrust between the High Lords. That could definitely keep them from plotting against Rand too much if they're plotting against themselves, or at least keep them somewhat divided. So I think Tom's a really valuable ally in this sense, and the sooner that they can bring him in. But I do like that they're not keeping him in the inner circle for that very reason, or visibly in the inner circle, so that he is trusted in a different way. It must be frustrating for him to have lost so much of his mobility. Can it be healed if he trusted any Aes Sedai? Would they be able to heal him, or is it just, it's gone now? He would trust Nynaeve, maybe. I love that. He would trust Nynaeve, maybe. I doubt myself. His room choice is more game strategy, and also shows Rand still values and trusts Tom, even from a really short 2-sentence explanation of why he doesn't want something better and why he can't be seen to be around Rand all the time. And Moraine is keeping a closer eye on Matt, and probably Perrin as well, because she's realised her research and planning has missed something important in these two about the role of the Tavern. And so she's keeping a closer eye on them, because I think she's realised that she needs to keep them together as much as possible. So we'll see how that pans out. I always enjoy seeing more of Tom, so I enjoyed this chapter. I remember quite enjoying that, even though that was back in October. So then, jumping forward a bit, I read the next bit on the 6th of November, chapter 5, Questioners. So Gwen and Nynaeve are interrogators or questioners, although not resorting to the same physical torture of the White Cloaks, I assume. And side note, that has a whole new meaning after the events of the TV series, when Gwen and Perrin are captured by a questioner. Gwen appears a little judgmental of Nynaeve, not being able to access the power as freely as her. A little frustration that she has to magic the Black Aja alone without Nynaeve's help, mixed in with a bit of superiority that even though Nynaeve is older and more powerful, Gwen has better control. She is one-upping Nynaeve, who still views herself as in charge, as wisdom of the villagers. Yeah, their relationship, I just think it's fun to watch their dynamics, because it just feels so real to how girls are with each other, how women are with each other. Nynaeve is quick to jump to Rand's defense. He is the dragon, not some upstart from somewhere other than the Two Rivers. She's not going to forget her reasons for leaving home to protect and bring them all home if possible. I am so curious to know whether they get home in this book or whether they just don't get home. I just don't know. I really thought that they would have gone home by now. Maybe this book is the book. They have two different possibilities for the next events. Emico's is likely what they'll go deal with. Is Tanchico where the Seanchan or Suroth are? They're somewhere in the Arith Ocean, so it's possible Leandrin is wanting to collar Rand, which actually makes a lot of sense. Or it could be something completely unrelated, but I doubt it. Joya's story is possibly more dealable. Go deal with this fake dragon that could really be a problematic distraction. Their talk of gentling people is quite interesting. Will Nynaeve figure out how to heal someone who is gentled? That could mean some great things, although it could make her more dangerous and more in danger in the bigger picture. We'll be completely unsurprised if someone in the Aes Sedai, example Swan, is gentled if she is stripped of her position, and then later Nynaeve is able to heal her and reconnect her with the source. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's in the future for Nynaeve. This was also then chapter 6, Doorways. I also read this one in November, on the 7th of November. Our first glimpse into Elaine's point of view. I've been waiting for this for quite some time. She's obviously stepping up to be a permanent member of Team Rand, as I've affectionately called it, as she declares her feelings and De Gwen hands him over to her. Just a thought, this would have felt quite disrespectful if it was men doing the same thing. So it's kind of interesting to compare that if it was, I don't know, Perrin and Rand or Perrin and Matt handing over, oh, I don't need them anymore, you can have them. It just wouldn't feel right. Moraine has let her guard slip a little and shown a real anger at the situation and Rand's inaction. Maybe on purpose. Maybe she did it on purpose to try and get Gwen and Elaine to do something about it. I don't think so though. I think she let it slip. So much so that she missed the guards at the door and didn't notice the black Aja straight away. Very telling of how angry she really is. Rand won't act blindly. Like, he isn't just going to go and do what he's told. And the sooner she works that out, the better. Moraine may be respecting the girls are hunting the black Aja, but she's still interfering, sending the pigeons, and basically told them that what they should do, what she would do and what they should do, go to Tenchiko. I'm worried she's again ignoring something important. I suppose that's what happens when you devote that much time and energy to one cause, the dragon. You forget about all the other things, example, the black Aja, which could cause problems that impact the pattern, small but meaningful changes or impacts that could cause some major problems down the path. I think this was also what she did with the Tavern. She focused so much on the dragon that she was ignoring Perrin and Matt. So now I feel like she's focusing so much on the Dark One that she's forgetting about what Dark Friends, the Black Aja, can do. So maybe her way of dealing with this will have to shift at some point, and she'll get more involved with the Tarvalon politics as opposed to the big stuff. Who knows? She's being more open with them than usual with the girls. Again, showing how she, one, acknowledges that they're almost Aes Sedai, and two, it may help her if they know something, or at least not catch her off guard again. And three, the bubbles of evil that attacked Rand have really rattled her. Elaine is definitely a peacemaker, but she has the knowledge and skills to be so much more than that. And I think we'll see her growing into that over the course of this and maybe the next book, or over the course of the rest of the series. She'll grow into that ability that she has to be more than just the peacemaker between Nynaeve and Egwene and Moiraine. Morghese has taught her really well the political stuff, the game, how to hold herself, all of that. She did brush Matt's warning about Gabriel off though. Knowing the Forsaken have holds on different countries, I'll be curious if they have taken him, if they ever take him seriously. I just think that was a really interesting thing when they know that Ilian, Tyr, like they're both dealing with the Forsaken there. And now the Gabriel issue, which you would assume someone that she's never heard of, you'd be a bit more worried. But maybe they're obviously caught up in whatever they're doing. And she also offered insight into Moraine's Ch1-7 connection. And I've been wondering when we'd learn that, because obviously I knew that she was from Ch1-7 and that she had some connection to the royal family there. I think that was slipped at some point in the comments. That's fine, not a big thing. But this is the first time I've actually noticed it in the books that we've learned that. It helps explain her extra regal nature, I suppose, and her ability to play the game and all that kind of stuff. So that is what I read initially. This is chapter 7, the last chapter I'm going to talk about today that I read yesterday. So there was a gap of over almost 2 months in between reading chapter 6, Doorways, and this chapter, and hopefully there won't be that big a gap again. So chapter 7, Playing with Fire. This is a great chapter to give us real insight into the differences between Sader and Sadin. Sorry if I say that wrong. There's the possibility that they have more in common than they all realised, simply because Rand's power is so much more than average that he doesn't use it in the same way your average male Aes Sedai would use it. And maybe once he has the chance to learn more, they'll realise the similarities and the differences and where the cross sections are. Maybe they're just used in completely different ways. I'll find out. He's so much more powerful than your average Aes Sedai, even ones that are potentially powerful like a Gwen and Elaine. So until they sort of can work out how much of it is just because of how much power he has access to, and how much of it is because of the different male-female ways of accessing the source. Gwen suggesting maybe Nynaeve could come close if she could get angry enough suggests the future magical partnership, and I love the idea we're getting that without romantic complications. So Rand and Nynaeve teaming up, I think that's fantastic. I assume we won't have any romantic stuff going on between the two of them anyway. Gwen's doing her thing where she takes on something of the person she's with, learning from Elaine and holding herself regally like Elaine does. I'll be interested to chart her character growth and journey with the people that she's spending the most time with at any one point in time. It's such a real normal thing we all do. So I love that we get to witness this, not just see this fully self-assured character. They're all affected by each other, and I think that's just this really beautiful thing about the Wheel of Time books and how Robert Jordan's crafted them, is the characters are influenced by each other. And I know that most authors write like that, but I think you're just seeing it. I'm seeing it more in these characters. They just feel so much more real. We've got a lot more time devoted to them and as characters and getting insight into their heads than if he'd tried to cram the whole story into a smaller number of books, and I really appreciate that. I always enjoy getting these short backstories about the Two Rivers folk. Everything we learn helps explain who they are, and it's always relevant in some way, obviously. Gwen hitting Nynaeve with a bowl when she doesn't like the tea or the herbs that she was given to help her mood. it lines up with the issues they're dealing with now, in a different way. It shows that there's always been a little bit of tension in some way. It's not like Nynaeve just commands respect from them all. They treat her like a person, and I think that's great. Rand's justly paranoid in this situation. Gwen's definitely tiptoeing around him, and I don't think she expected that to happen, that she'd be tiptoeing around and that Rand would be paranoid and all of that. She's been so caught up in her own task with the Black Aja, she hasn't taken in how much he's changed up until that moment. So I really like that she took a step back for a moment and looked at him and actually realised that he had changed and that things were affecting him. He wasn't the same person that they were when they left the Two Rivers. I love that she's worried about him and can imagine she's going to solve the puzzle of Satan and how she can train Rand to keep him safe and to help him, because she wants to keep him safe. But also, she wants to solve the puzzle that no one else has been able to solve. I feel she'll end up seeking help in the dream world, once she remembers that that's a possibility, or if she works out, if she doesn't already know that it's a possibility, that time is not quite linear there. So she might be able to actually talk to someone from the past and find out a little bit more about how Rand can actually learn this. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we get. And then I commented on this. This is just because there was a break in when I read this. I like this scene also acts as the official handover from Gwen to Elaine. Although if the same thing happened with male characters, it might feel a little bit strange. So I wrote the same kind of thing. But I think that's interesting. I'm hoping that this is that big moment that now we start seeing Rand not as Gwen's love interest. I know we haven't seen him that way for a very long time, if at all. But I'm hoping that this is that time where we start seeing Elaine and Rand and maybe some of the others really come into their own and start seeing different things happening there. Anyway, that is the end of my thoughts for today. I hope you enjoyed. Chapters 1 through 7 got off to a really good start. I'm really looking forward to, as you can see, I was a little bit all over the place with what I was reading, so I should be able to be a lot more consistent with my reading going forward. But that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to start the reading journal, because I knew that if I did have breaks in the reading, which I sometimes have to do just because of life, I'd be able to pick up the reading journal and work out what I'd been thinking before the break in between things. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to do it. So I'm really glad that I have, because it's helped me get back into it today and yesterday. Anyway, what did you think? Did you enjoy the start of The Shadow Rising? When you read it, did it capture you? Did you have trouble getting into it? Did you have the same kind of questions? And don't tell me if I'm on the right track about any of it, or if I'm off the right track, that's fine too. But yeah, get down in the comments and let me know how you're going. And welcome back anyway, if you have been away. I know some of you were not watching the videos I've been doing for the TV series, so welcome back, and I hope we can keep moving forward with the books. Anyway, that's me done for today. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel. What am I trying to say? Just do all the things that you do on YouTube and get down in the comments, say hi if nothing else, and I will see you all with chapter 8 onwards with the next video. Cool, bye.